So you're Charles Diederich in the 1950s. You're a former alcoholic who's seen the lights and now wants to help others find their way. So you decided to put your own twist on the Alcoholics Anonymous program. But with your program, you help addicts recover with a more aggressive approach. You call your program Synonym, and you center the entire thing around a group treatment technique known as the game. During the game, everyone puts their focus on one member of the group, and for hours, everyone takes turns bullying and humiliating the person of focus. They tell them everything that's wrong with them, and pick apart every detail of their personality until the person of focus is basically a hollowed out shell. The game is meant to break a person until they're humbled enough to be built back up better. Oftentimes, the game would escalate to the point of violence, and everyone in Synonym was required to participate in the game. Yeah, sure, these practices weren't really useful in actually helping people, but in a sadistic way, it was a very effective way to control them, to make them submissive to you. Even though you started Synonym as a pseudo-recovery program for alcoholics, it quickly blossomed into something very different, a brutal and fast-spreading cult. Synonym spread throughout California, and the group became more and more disturbing as they grew. Members were required to shave their heads bald, they made couples who entered together break apart and recouple with new people. Synonym members were even sterilized and forced to have abortions. Things were getting really out of hand, and by 1991, Synonym was officially shut down. It seemed like this was the end of the story, but it was only the beginning. Synonym ended up inspiring a slew of people to take the cult's techniques and make it into a business, and the result was a new, very dark industry, the business of reforming troubled teenagers. Former members of Synonym created groups like the Phoenix House, The Seed, and Straight Incorporated, a collection of businesses that thrived on one thing: exploiting the desperate parents of teenagers. These programs made big promises of fixing your kids' pot-smoking habits, terrible attitudes, depression, anxiety, homosexuality, to pray the gay away.
Your son just needs to learn that he can be straight if he chooses to be.
If you were a parent stressed about your kid's future, this sounded amazing. I can outsource my parenting to these camps. All they had to do was sign their name on the dotted line and let these businesses take away their troubled teen. And boom, after some time, they would come home a respectful, well-mannered young adult. But what's their magic trick? How are they fixing these teenagers? Well, through straight up torture, to put it bluntly, breaking down their spirit until they beg for it to stop. And unfortunately, many of these troubled teens don't survive the programs, like 15-year-old Erica Harvey. Erica became ill at the Catherine Freer Wilderness Program. She was forced to keep hiking for hours until she died that afternoon of a heat stroke and dehydration in 2002. Or 12-year-old Alex Harris. Alex was attending Hope Youth Ranch in 2005. He died after begging for medical help from staff members, only to be forced to keep running laps. Or 7-year-old Angelica Arndt, who went into cardiac arrest at Rice Lake Clinic after being asphyxiated while being restrained in 2006. And this isn't a thing of the past, it's still happening to this day right now. In 2016, 15-year-old Janaea Barnhart died at Avosurf after being restrained in a full-body wrap. In 2019, 17-year-old Cursor Simmons committed suicide in a bathroom at West Ridge Academy. In 2020, 16-year-old Cornelius Friedrich was killed after a violent 11-minute restraint at Lakeside Academy. His crime? Throwing a sandwich. Kidnapping and torturing teens is usually thought to be illegal, but today it's turned into the billion-dollar troubled teen industry. If you're looking to create your own successful business, like a troubled teen bootcamp for example, then you're gonna need every single advantage you can get, because it's a competitive world out there. And one super easy advantage you can have is having better sleep. With hustle culture these days, most of your competitors don't get enough sleep because they think it's cool and noble. But if you get enough sleep, you'll have better cognitive performance than them, better memory than them, and a giant list of other benefits as well. That is why I have always taken my sleep very seriously. I've always been the type of person who takes my sleep seriously because I know just how important it is for your productivity, memory, and more. Isn't it weird that we have these things like prescription glasses to help you see better, but not a prescription mattress that's tailor-made to help you sleep better? Well, that is where Helix comes in. With Helix, all you have to do is fill out a quick and easy sleep quiz. You'll tell them if you'll be sleeping alone or with someone else, what position you tend to sleep in, how firm you like a mattress to be, and if you have any back pain. And boom, that is it. Helix matches you with the perfect mattress for you that will give you the best sleep possible. You can then grab some accessories like a bed frame or weighted blankets, and then your mattress will be delivered right to your door in a small box so that it's easy to set up on your own. You'll also get a 100-night sleep trial, so if you don't like it for whatever reason, you'll get a full refund. Based on my results, Helix matched me with their Sunset Luxe mattress, and guys, it is incredible. The firmness is exactly what I was looking for, it supports the way I sleep perfectly, and I actually miss my Helix when I have to stay in hotels where the mattress isn't made for me. They ship for free within the US, their mattresses come with a 10-year warranty, plus they have financing options and flexible payment plans. So if you want to improve your sleep, go to helixsleep.com/JakeTran or click the link below for up to $200 off your Helix Sleep mattress and 2 free pillows. That's helixsleep.com/JakeTran for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. Thanks to Helix for sponsoring this video. Over 50,000 kids are sent to some form of troubled teen program every year in the US. And there are a few different types: remedial boarding schools, boot camps, religious academies, gay conversion camps, wilderness programs, and youth rehab centers. These things can be run by private companies, nonprofits, or religious groups. And kids get sent to these camps for a variety of reasons. Sure, there are children who get sent away for big issues like addiction or committing crimes.
I could send you to jail, and I would not lose one bit of sleep over it.
But then there are also kids who get sent there for depression, anxiety, eating disorders, their gender identity, or sexual orientation. There are teens in foster care and group homes who are turned over to these camps simply because it's convenient for the states. For each and every kid, troubled teen camps make millions of dollars. Some for-profit programs earn as much as $800 per day for every child. So if a school has 250 prisoners, students, they could be making around $200,000 every single day. And here's how you can do it yourself. The first step to getting a program like this off the ground is by targeting the people with all the power, the parents. The whole reason we can take away kids in the first place is because they're under 18. They're too young to have all their rights. Specifically, we go for parents who are desperate and don't know how to help their kids. The ones who are willing to pay anything to fix their little angel. Then we tell them our program is the exact solution they've been looking for.
All we wanted to do at the time was to help him. And now we are all facing together the challenge of finding out this was the worst thing that ever happened to him.
So this is the binder I kept all my letters from my mom in. My dearest Teddy, you hate me. You never thought you could hate me more than you did yesterday. You're about to enter a school that will help you. I am crying as I write this. I am scared that you will never forgive me or understand that I am saving your life. XO, I love you, Mom.
But the problem you're gonna run into is that nobody is gonna agree to get shipped off to a random program that promises to fix them, especially not teenagers. But no worries, because we have a handy solution for that. Just kidnap them. Seriously, literally just kidnap them. But don't worry because it's all totally legal. Remember that handy thing about teens not having rights? That is the useful part.
In the US, minors don't have medical autonomy, which means that your parent or legal guardian can give consent for you. And since my mom had full custody, they literally only needed her signature to snatch me up in the middle of the night and fly me across the country.
The best way to do it is to take them in the middle of the night. A sneak attack, so they're not prepared. And there are plenty of services available to do your legal kidnapping for you, like United Secure Youth Transport Agency or Next Step Youth Transports. Their company names sound vague enough, but trust me, they'll do anything it takes to get the job done. Here's how it will go down. 2 big intimidating guys will show up in the middle of the night, the parents will direct them to the sleeping child's bedroom, and then the teen is woken up by the agents and told them that they can do this the easy way or the hard way. And trust me, you would want to do it the easy way. Once they get them out of the house, that's it. The teen is taken to a different state or sometimes even to a different country where the program is located. The entire time they aren't being told what's happening.
There was this knock at the door, and I remember I was kind of looked at my mom because I was wondering, who that might be. And it was these 2 really big people. And the first guy, he grabbed my wrist and he slammed my arms against the counter. And next thing I knew, there was a knee up against the back of my knee and my knees were on the ground and it all happened so fast. All the guy said is, you can do this the easy way or the hard way, but either way, you're coming with us. And
did you know where you were going or what was happening to you?
Not at all. I remember waking up the next morning and just being so bewildered. Here I am, I don't know a soul. I have no direction. I just went through this insane experience of being kidnapped the night before.
They're like, you can do this the easy way or you can do this the hard way. These guys had been hired by my parents and got legally kidnapped.
So when I was 16, I was kidnapped in the middle of the night and taken from Connecticut to Utah.
And things only get worse for them when they arrive at the sites. I mean, we've got to make sure the parents get their money's worth, right? By the time the teenagers get to the program, they are terrified and confused, unsure about where they are or what's happening.
No one told me what was happening or where I was going until I was dumped in the middle of the desert. And it turns out I was brought to wilderness rehab.
Getting booked into a teen program is shockingly similar to getting booked into prison. The teens are strip searched and have a supervised shower, often by staff members of the opposite sex. We're talking about 13-year-old girls being strip searched and watched in the shower by adult men.
I had just turned 13 years old. They did a full intake, cavity search. I had to strip naked. They, did this whole thing where they had you spread your legs and shake, and then had a staff member march me to the showers. It was a male staff member, and so I had a supervised shower, which was also very traumatizing. I remember the water being very cold. They took me to what was going to be my bedroom, and I went to bed.
And some parts of the intake at these camps are even worse than prisons. This girl said that when she first arrived to a program called Turnabout Ranch, she was forced to sit up without sleeping for 3 days straight. She wasn't allowed to shower, she just had to sit there for days.
Everybody there, you see you're in the middle of nowhere, you know there's nowhere to run. If you try to run out there, they're gonna find you, you're gonna get in more trouble, or if you do get away, you're gonna get eaten by a coyote or something.
Another anonymous teen said that when he refused to take out his piercings during intake, the staff members ripped them off through his flesh. He still has scars today. The teenager's experience only worsens as time goes on.
Your mission for this class is to accomplish a change in your life. But in order to make that happen, you must sweat. You must work for it. You must go through the challenge and the fire today.
Once they're stuck in the program, all their communication is monitored. Their letters home are read, and their calls are listened to by staff. Teens are punished big time if they dare to try to tell their parents about what is really happening to them, and a lot is happening.
It's frustrating because I know she didn't know the truth, and that she was kind of falling for this act that I was putting on that I knew I had to put on.
Troubled teen programs today mainly use the same principles Synonym started with, tearing people down to make them into something different.
Really do. They strip you from your whole personality. You have to act like just whoever they want you to act like.
I was so afraid of doing something wrong all the time.
They do this by cultivating an environment of constant fear and stress, with a few different techniques, like shame, by having sessions similar to the game, where the group verbally abuses a single individual until they break.
Monarch had a form of public humiliation called a seat. On a seat, you were not allowed to be spoken to, and you could not speak, and then you would go out in a war.
Or isolation and solitary confinement as a punishment.
You're in a cement room with nothing. Technically, you were supposed to sit the entire time and be quiet. But of course, after a while, you start mentally breaking. So I would do things like sing. I would be restrained for that, or try to move around in my cell, get restrained for that.
Where you're isolated, where you're secluded from the rest of the population oftentimes, and then you have to do this activity where you pick up wood in upstate New York from one parking lot to the other, or it's a circle, and you do this for hours.
Taking away basic needs like a bed, clothing, warmth.
But they take away necessity privileges, like sleeping on a bed, eating good food, not being cold.
Force-feeding medication without telling them what it is.
They would prescribe everyone all these pills. I didn't know what they were giving me. I would just feel so tired.
Constant manual labor or physical activity without breaks.
Camps, basically doing manual labor all day long. It was just constant yelling at, boot camp style.
And then you would go out and work for 8 to 10 hours.
Then there are the tactics that cross the boundaries even further. Some teens were forced to eat so much food that they had to keep a bucket next to them to constantly throw up during meals. Other teens had their food limited to the point of feeling hungry and lightheaded all the time. In a lot of states, these programs are legally allowed to withhold food and water as a form of punishment.
I'm like, please, can I just go home? I've already been through so much. I promise I'll never go to a club again. Please, I can't go back to these places. You have no idea.
Along with other stuff involving teenage girls that I probably can't talk about on YouTube.
Figure it out. Figure it out real quick and hurry. I want 120.
All of this happens because the industry is completely removed from any watchful eyes.
We found out after we graduated from this place and left that it wasn't even regulated. The state of New York had no idea what they were providing these kids.
They're not regulated by the government, and these are kidnapped kids in the middle of remote locations. These programs are free to do whatever they want because no one is watching. Most of the staff of these programs have zero experience with children or mental health.
And did you have any experience with children, with education?
Like absolutely none.
Did you feel like you had to go along with it?
I thought they must be licensed.
One former staff member told the press that he, quote, wouldn't treat a dog, end quote, the way he was ordered to treat children at his facility. Worst of all, there's barely any proof of all this abuse happening. There are no cameras or phones to record what's happening. It's just a staff member's word against a troubled teen.
You have no evidence. You don't have a phone there. They don't have cameras there. Like, there's no evidence of none of this. And obviously all the staff is in on it.
But teens from these programs are finally starting to get their stories out. And there are thousands of them.
When I was removed from my community without warning, without having the ability to talk or tell anybody where I was going.
When you get there, they tell you to get naked, they strip search you, and then they give you a new pair of clothes that you have for the whole time, and a backpack that usually weighs about 50 to 75% of your weight.
Kids who attend troubled teen programs are actually more likely to recommit a crime when they get out. So these programs make things way worse than they were before, and it tears families apart. I mean, would you talk to your parents anymore if they paid to have you kidnapped and held hostage? And the kids who manage to get out of these programs with a lifetime of PTSD and baggage are actually the lucky ones, because some of them don't even make it out alive. Nearly 200 kids have died at these programs since the 70s. And guess what? It's still happening right now. Right now, as you're watching this video, there are thousands of children in the woods, or at boarding schools, or at religious programs being held against their will. They're being abused and they're dying. Just 3 months ago from the time of recording this video, a young girl at Maple Lake Academy died. She had complained about medical issues for days, but nobody brought her to a doctor. They just ignored her. On January 16, 2022, she was found dead. As of 2022, this industry profits $1.2 billion a year. And there is no end in sight. Pretty insane story that I had no idea was happening before I started researching this video. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. And if you're new here, my name is Jake and we run one of the biggest channels on YouTube for documentaries on money, power, and crime. So click that subscribe button below. We make multiple videos just like this one for free every single week. And if you want longer ones that are even more controversial to the point where I can't post them publicly, click that join button below. We have a really good one coming out that I can't wait for you guys to see. And if you join and you don't think it's worth it, you can email me and I will personally refund you the money. You can follow me on Instagram at jtran.io. Watch out for fake accounts. I would never message you asking for money or whatever. But that's gonna wrap it up. Stay dangerous out there and I will see you guys in the next one.